Good morning, children. Welcome to the PowerPoint presentation of our Class 7th, Chapter 5 History. The name of our chapter is the Delhi Sultanate, and the topic which we are dealing with is the Mamluk Sultans. And this video is the second part of our topic Mamluk Dynasty. And in the last video, we have discussed about what is Mamluk dynasty, about Qutbuddin Aibak, about Iltutmish, etc. In this video, we are going to discuss about the remaining three Mamluk rulers, Razia Sultana, Nasruddin Mahmud and Ghiyasuddin Balban. We'll start with Razia Sultana. Iltutmish nominated his daughter Razia as his successor, but the Turkish nobles opposed it because it was against or it is a blow to their dignity. They don't want to be ruled by a lady. And even though she was very able, efficient, and a person possessing all the qualities of a ruler, the nobles, they can't accept her as their ruler because she was a female. In that male dominated society during that time cannot accept a female as their ruler. So they crowned Ruknuddin, her brother. After 7 months, seeing the condition becoming worse, Razia overthrew Ruknuddin and she became the ruler. And she is considered as the first and last woman Sultan of Delhi. She was a brave, able, and she dressed up like a man, and she gave up parda and held on open courts. She discussed about all the each and every matters of her country. She was a very good and very able ruler. She was brave. She possessed all the qualities which is necessary for a ruler. But the problem was that she's a female. That was the main problem which forced the provincial governors to fight against her. She tried to crush the revolts of provincial governors, and she was helped by her Abyssinian slave called Yaqut. Later he was killed, and after that she was forced to marry the leader of rebellion. His name was Altonia. She married him, and both of them tried to recover Delhi with his help. And with the help of his army and with the help of others who was along with him, they tried to regain the power, but it was in vain, and both of them were killed. Now the next person is Nasruddin Mahmud. Nasruddin Mahmud was the youngest son of Iltutmish and the brother of Razia Sultana. He ascended the throne at the age of 17. He was an inefficient, simple and peace-loving, but an inefficient ruler and an inexperienced one also. More than inefficient, he was inexperienced ruler. He was very peace-loving and he was a loving person also, and he became the ruler in very young age of 17. He left his administration on the hands of his prime minister Balban, and this Balban was a slave of his father Iltutmish. Balban crushed the internal rebellion and ruled for 20 years on behalf of Nasruddin. Till the death of Nasruddin, Balban continued ruling Delhi on behalf of Nasruddin. Now we'll come to the main topic of our second part Mamluk dynasty, that is Ghiyasuddin Balban. First of all, we can say that he was not included in the dynasty of Mamluks because all the other four, that is Qutbuddin Aibak, his son-in-law Iltutmish, then Iltutmish's two children Razia Sultana and Nasruddin, they belong to the same dynasty or belong to the same family in one way or another. But coming towards the Ghiyasuddin Balban, they are not part of their family, but he was a slave of Iltutmish. He was a brave, efficient man. He was a slave of Iltutmish, and he became the prime minister of Nasruddin Mahmud. He was a loyal servant towards Iltutmish and his master Nasruddin Mahmud. After the death of Nasruddin Mahmud, Balban became the ruler. When he ascended the throne, when he became the ruler, he faced three difficulties. They are: the Turkish nobles, headed by the group of 40 or Chalisa, had become more powerful and threatened the position of the king. Many local rulers troubled him within the Sultanate and on its borders. 3. He was faced with the continuous threat of attack by the Mongols. So you can see that there are three important. It's included as your question answer. So you have to learn this. The Turkish nobles, headed by 40 or Chalisa, they threatened him or threatened his position. Second one is local rulers troubled him, and the third one is continuous threat by Mongols. The first two was because he belonged to the slave dynasty, or he belonged to the slave family, not dynasty, he belongs to the slave family. That's why the nobles and the upper class people, they were not ready to accept him as the Sultan. Now for crushing the revolts, what he have done? He used to crush the revolt by doing some measures. He took various measures. He had made many measures that we can see uh, from the beginning itself. Means he started a continuous raid against Mongols. He built many forts and repaired it, which became old. He kept a strong standing army. He reorganized administration and military organization, etc. So, like that, many measures were done to crush the revolts which is coming against him. So, now the next one is considered, as we can say that he has done so many good things. He was an able ruler, he protected his people, he built a fort, he crushed the revolt of Mongols, but still one negative is enough for a person to spoil his name. So like that we can say that here in the case of prestige of the king, he has done something which is against the prestige of, or something which is against the name of him. The first one is he advocated divine origin of kingship. He said that a person become a ruler or a king, it is not by his action, or not he is not made as a ruler by anybody else other than God. It is something which is divine, which is given by God. That is okay. He consider himself as a person who is blessed with all the good things which is given by God. So it's, to an extent, it is good. But the next two things which is introduced by him, that is sujuda and paibos. Sujuda, it means the practice of kneeling and touching the ground with one's forehead. The second one is paibos. It means kissing the feet of king. So he has done two things which spoiled his name, that is Sajda and Paibos. These two things are against the dignity of a human being. So we can say that the first thing which he introduced was Sajda, and the second one is Paibos. First one is kneeling and touching the ground with one's forehead, and which usually Muslims do during their namaz, and they believe that it's a thing which we have to do in front of the God only. Second one is the practice of kissing the king's feet. Now towards the his army and the organizations which he have made, we can say that placed the cavalry and infantry under commander of office of high caliber. He confiscated the land given to old men who was unfit for military, and he started giving them pension. He recruited young men in the army. He died at 1286, and after his death his successors were weak. So just 4 years only slave dynasty continued. It was It came to an end and it was followed by Khalji dynasty. So that is all about our Sultanate first part, that is the Mamluk dynasty. Now in the next video or in the next chapter we'll start the Khalji dynasty. Before that, let's see some exercise questions. For this you can write in your copy and you can learn. The first one is dash was the prime minister during the reign of Nasruddin Mahmud. 2. Kissing the feet of the monarch. 3. Dash and dash are the two practices introduced by Balban in the court. 4. Dash advocated the divine origin of kingship. 5. Slave dynasty was replaced by dash dynasty. So that's all. You can watch this again if any doubts are there, and study and prepare well for the exam. Thank you.